Actually, I don't even need the light. I think I'm light enough. Yeah, you can see me. Alright, so this is Calicat, the Calicatster. And I thought it would be interesting since it's the on location. It's the year of 2024, the 40th anniversary of On Location. Why not do some other exploring of the territory up there and do a little backstory on that. I was gonna do something on the Bascom town neighborhood, which is the old town, Bascom Street and all that, and something on, but I'm not gonna because it's there. I'll just mention it now. It's there. And then there's Campbell in the Union District in Cambrian. I thought it would be interesting because I went to high school, with John and Tim and the others, and Jim and Angie back in the day, in the Cambrian District, apparently. And I decided to look up the Cambrian District and all that stuff. And what were the native sons of the Golden West? What were they? What was the town? What was that area? What was that neighborhood like? Yeah, so there's some interesting things and tidbits in here. It appears that the reason that the Cambrian Park Plaza is still intact is a historical site. The sign and all that are a historical site for the Cambrian Park. What's left of Cambrian Park and Cambrian Town. Apparently that neighborhood was annexed into San Jose long time ago during the purge of the 50s. Milpitas, which is adjacent to San Jose, this is Milpitas, didn't go for it, didn't want to be part of San Jose. So 1954, Milpitas is just its own. So he didn't want to join San Jose. So we didn't. But this other group on the other south side was Cambrian Park in the it goes back to the 1800s, about 20 years after the Civil War, and it was part of the Cambria Latinized word for Welsh farm ranch guy. Name of let's see, what's the name of Cambriana Park? Jeremiah Casey. Jeremiah Casey Ranch. Sounds American. They went in there, Welsh landowner. Went in there. Which means that there was a Pine Hill student with a first name Casey, spelled the same way, but I don't think that he was a relation. It's his first name. Don't think so. But yeah, there's there's a lot of storied history of that area that predates us from Pine Hill and stuff. Now on the Pine Hill, the original Pine Hill Second Start sign, underneath the sign, it's a littler sign. It said A.L. Metzler Elementary, and that's formed in the 50s. And it said next to it, it had like a almost school thing, and it said by the native son, put down by the native sons of the Golden West. So it's historical. That the school itself, which is now Casa de Miri Montessori School, that's what it is now. That's nothing. That's what it is now. It's a Montessori school. So it's similar to Murphy, one of my other elementary schools from over here. So it's over there. It's an elementary and preschool. More of a preschool elementary school. But when it was Pine Hill, it was an elementary school and it was a high school, a junior high and high school. Small kids with learning disabilities. School. The kids had one side of the quad and the teenagers had the other side of the quad. Basically the other quad. Rooms 8 through 17 were the teen quad, and all the rooms under 8 were the kids quad. They tore down a whole line of trees when they put in that lot there. They took out all the park equipment, play equipment, put it up. In 2023, they were planning on putting a dementia home building. I don't know if that's what they're building now, or if or if it's going to be some other land development, but like a old folks home kind of thing on that part of the site. I don't know if that's the case now, but it was when I was there 2022. They were going to build that there. Now it's changed over, and I think it's going to be some sort of resident / thing. There's not enough room there to do like a lot of condos, so it's probably the condos are on the other side and the residence is on the other side. They're building that. So I'm thinking that thing on the other side of the property, that's where that is. And the one that's on this side is not anything yet. I think that's what they're doing. But anyway, it's interesting that there's a little high school, formal school, and elementary training school that it was. The Cambrian Park was a town. And when you're in the Cambrian Park Mall, Cambrian Plaza, Camden and Union, you're right in the middle of this little town that San Jose swallowed up. And what's interesting is that they've been swallowing up each other for years because they're right on the border of Campbell. So Campbell's on the Berryessa side, and the Bascom side, and it's gobbling up pieces of up to some of the unincorporated land up till 2012. Campbell got some of it. So yeah, it's an interesting little backstory of the Cambrian Park Town. There's another park town. There's a park town here too. It's Park Town. This is Park Town, Milpitas. But this is the Cambrian Park Town. It's a little different. But yeah, so on this side, there's Sunny Hill Park Town. And, there's a lot of other places over there. So this one, yeah, in South San Jose, yeah, there's a historical monument. I would think that the A.L. Metzler site, Pine Hill, is actually historically listed in 1975 because it's unlike the Valley Christian site, but like the athletic center across the street is a historical site, but the other one, that was an old city hall or something over there. And they put Valley Christian on top of it. It was apparently there was a post office down the road. They moved the Casa de Murray to where Pine Hill is now, but it used to be in the Campbell side over by the old post office. They moved it over to Murray. That's what Tim was trying to say when he was trying to say that. But then switched subjects. But yeah, I went over there and found out that's what was going on. And there's a lot of other famous places. It was the Alexian Brothers. Now it's a cancer facility, it's a hospital. There was a bunch of other things further down Bascom. Prune Yard is on the other side of that, the Campbell side. It's Campbell San Jose border. The famous mall where legends were known about that. But that's in that district. The Prune Yard, of course, we'll just explore the South San Jose area. Okay, the Prune Yard was originally a plum orchard. Big plum orchard going out in the middle of nowhere in the 60s. Plum orchard. Which is why it's called the Prune Yard Mall. That's why it's named that. Unlike Orchard Parkway on our side of San Jose, where it was always an apple and peach orchard. Even though the Grandmaster, when she was at Orchard Parkway, thought that it had to do with strawberry fields and the Beatles somehow. Nope. No strawberries. Nope. Maybe that's on the other side by Alviso, but no, it was no strawberries ever there. It was apples. But yeah, the plum orchard, that's pretty obvious. The Prune Yard, okay. They made processed plums into prunes for consumption. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things out there. Some of the Wiener Schnitzels are still around. But yeah, you go through the old San Jose, you go down the Bascom area, you see all those old buildings that are still there. The Burbank's still there. What's left of the husk of the whole street side with all the other stuff up. And the Bascom district is a district in a neighborhood that was absorbed, San Jose. The Nigley, Alameda. The Alameda was a town outside of Alameda County in San Jose. The Willow Glen was a town that San Jose took over too. Downtown San Jose is basically Willow Glen and some of the other side. Yeah. So you go through Willow Glen. But yeah, there's 1 million people there because they absorbed all these other towns in the 50s and 60s, up to the present apparently in some places. So they're still moving things around. In some places there was some unincorporated area that Campbell got. Probably rather small. 1870s, as early as that. Early Mercury News, a long time ago. Yeah, so you have that's interesting, that little district with that little town and that janky sign and that. It's a famous church. I don't know where that is. Where's the famous church? Didn't see that. Famous church. Where is that? St. Francis Cabrini Church. Oh no, Canary. Yeah. I wonder what that is. There's the hospital. Yeah, part of it on the other side in Santa Clara. So the bus used to run up to Los Gatos from there. Go up to I lived there a few times on the bus. We ran around the Los Gatos Art Museum only because the bus stopped there once. The thing for knowing where places are, we stopped through, like we had stopped through Livermore and knew my way around for some reason, back roads. I figured there has to be a way out, out of Livermore. Took it on the way back, twice. But yeah, even though I'd never actually driven the freeways in Livermore, my parents did, remember the route. That's all. Oh. But yes, that has nothing to do with this. Although remembering the routes was very useful yesterday in the different passages through downtown and all that. I went to San Jose State for years. I had my way around down there. So even out of Campbell and out of the Pine Hill area and through the thing. There was this other extra road, it zipped over there, you avoid all the traffic off Bascom and pop in the back of the prune yard. And then go out onto the other end of the street over there. After that, there was and then popped in and popped out as down up through the downtown, up 13th Street and then down, and Five Guys Burgers was actually gone, even though I turned around to try to go to the Five Guys, it was gone. The Cambrian Park District. Yeah, even though the Native Sons of the Golden West got in trouble a few times for being kind of racist, they didn't like. Yeah, they were during the World War II. They were racist, but they did save a bunch of historical landmarks and the California flag and all that. So they helped with that. So they were as a historical organization. They saved historical sites. That's fine. Even though their other business models, their social interaction with the locals was not what left much to be desired. Yeah, but yeah, they're keeping the historical landmarks. That was good. So, yeah, there's a little snippet on the Cambrian Park District. There are several towns and little things. I don't think this is going to become a thing where it explores Santa Clara County things at all. I just thought it would be interesting to mention that town is Cambrian Park and that where that school is located. And I can say that now because it's where the school was located. It was Pine Hill. They moved it to some other side. I'm not going to say where Pine Hill is currently. They didn't move it. But now it's a bigger thing. See, back in the day when I was going there, it was a private school thing where kids with learning disabilities that their parents could afford it or they were subsidized. So you didn't have like roving street gangs or anything. It didn't have anything like that. If there was anybody being a gang there, it was like a fake gang. They were just pretending to be a gang. The neighborhood was not that skanky that there would have been anything. And later on, and ironically, the native son guys who were probably ironically white guys, which is strange. The Pine Hill, post Pine Hill Montessori years, before this one bought it out, the 90s, when there was another place occupying there, had a large Asian community there. So I guess they made up for it indirectly. But that was after we were gone. But yes, yeah. So they have now. I don't think so. Well, I'm not sure. And it was mentioned in the other. I didn't watch my other commentary from 2 years ago until today, 3 years ago, and I was like, oh, I should have watched this. And it was like they mentioned the relative of Jill Rossman in the story. Was it Carl's Jr.? It was her mother. It wasn't just a relative. It was her mom. Not anymore. It's boarded up. Yeah, it was her mother. So we have So we have yeah, which has nothing to do with anything other than Carl's Jr. The mother did, not the daughter. There was a story that was cut out about the daughter allegedly working there at 12, which she didn't. We don't need to go there because that's hard. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so you have Cambrian Park, where the school is. 1975 also being coincidentally the year of allegedly the Kitty show had started, um, which was a precursor to On Location and Senate Silliness and all that. Precursor to that. Yeah, it couldn't have been because I was only 5. You have a different perception when you're a little kid of how time happens in space and linear stuff, and be like, it's a 10th anniversary of this or whatever, and it's like it really wasn't. Turns out, all of the Kitty show or the Cat's Meow was really probably the summer of '78 and the summer of '79, which would have been a little later. Still would have been pretty young, but it would have been a little later. Yeah. So what? Oh well. But no, it was '75. No, it wasn't. Even the self-class years, like what? We know the self-class years, '84 to roughly '86, early '87, late '86. So the self-class years, the junior high, and then the beginning of high school. So yeah, you have some of that. Was I technically held back part of 7th grade? Technically, yes. Because I wasn't at Rancho, I was at Senate. But yeah, anyway, Senate. Then I went on to Pine Hill. Yeah, and it was subsidized back then. So actually, senior year, my parents found out the Cantrells had subsidized. The city of San Jose gave Tim tuition somehow through medical whatever. We didn't know about that because also we were in Milpitas, so maybe there was something to do with, you're not a San Jose or Campbell resident, you're a Milpitas resident. Well, we don't do that for you. That's messed up. But yeah, that was San Jose's fault. I'm assuming. But yeah, and when it became Montessori's in elementary schools again, it completely changed back to what it kind of was back in the 50s. Was it teaching school? Well, actually, Elmitzler Elementary would have had little kitchen stations in it, at elementary school. But it was training. Some of them were training, yeah. So, but by the time Pine Hill was there, roughly 1983 or so, they moved over from another site to there. They moved over from the other post office site, actually. They keep using that old post office site, which is interesting. Tim and Angie of the original cast were part of that group that moved over there in junior high. So, from that group. So the first Minions, Tim and Angie. Yeah. But yeah, makes them leaders by association of the Minions. Their own group. Annie Cantrell, his wife, comes from something else, though. I think she used to be an employee at it. Was it a McFrules, or was it like a Big Lots? Something like that. She was like a cashier there. Or she was in training to be a trade. I think she helped out elderly people. Like a pair, like a maid. Not a nurse, but like a healthcare person. Yeah. Cleaning person, kind of. Yeah. I think that's what she does. Well, maybe she could get a job when they build that elderly building there. Get another one there. Yeah, a new one. Hopefully they won't tear the school down just to put in another building. We need another building. I don't know, that street's kind of busy right there with that bus station. That would be a good idea to put a bunch of old people in there. They might run out into the street. The fences. But they tore down all the Zothian trees along there, so now it's not protected by the actual like Native American Indians and stuff protecting it as much. So that's why the Josh Braun tree is dying in the background. It's all withered and yes, 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 the powers are weakened. But yes. yeah, so yeah, that particular fraternity group is got in trouble, but it's not about that. It's about what they did years ago when they were not in trouble or something. When they buried that story and just said, "Oh, yeah, we're gonna do a bunch of landmarks around here, like Cambrian Plaza and at Pine Hill, 1975, on the Cambrian Road, yeah." And then Jennifer Byron, the Coincidence Street. I'm assuming that somebody's last name was Jennifer in that case, and they were just Jennifer. I don't think she was descended from that road. That'd be weird. Just a coincidence. Or she went by that at Pine Hill just to go by that because it was funny, because that's a street behind the house school. That's probably the real story about that. She just I called myself that because as a Pine Hill student, because I thought it'd be funny. That's probably really what happened. Nobody got it until like 40 years later. They were like, "Oh, great." Yeah, it's like Sandra Kessler back in the day telling that bottle in the boxer joke, and nobody got it. Big Canadian joke, I guess. We didn't get it. I'm sure it was supposed to be something naughty. Yeah, it didn't make sense because she didn't get the punchline right. So, deliver the joke without the punchline. She probably overheard it on SNL or something and just didn't get the words right. Oh, but yes, I don't know whatever happened to her. It's rumored that she years ago had appeared in a gathering related to Shoreline. Although in the journal it doesn't mention her at all, so I'm thinking that maybe she didn't. Maybe we just misremembered that scene as having her there, and it really wasn't her, and she was just trying to be like nice. It's part of their personality, kind of look like her a little bit. Maybe that's all it was. But yeah, nice, sure, yeah, her, yeah. But yeah, Cambrian, Cambrian Park, Cambrian San Jose District neighborhood. Some of it is a small unincorporated area called Cambrian Park. So yeah, where the mall is technically unincorporated. It's kind of interesting. That's why they haven't settled it. Nobody owns it. Would you like to own Cambrian Park? No. Yeah, it's interesting. There are also some other famous schools that are still there. Valley Christian was across the street, used to be, but it moved there in the 80s, and then it moved away in the early 90s, and now it's a mall. But the other two famous high schools around there are Lee High School and Branham High School that are still there on the other side. In their yeah. And some of the kids at Pine Hill mentioned Bellarmine Prep, which is on the Campbell side. But according to this wiki, it's not listed there as part of the Cambrian anyway. So it's got to be on the other side. Your MIDI and stuff like that. That'd be on the other side. Yeah, that'd be closer to the Lee area. I think that's what that is. So Lincoln's over there. Yeah, it's interesting that it goes back to the 1800s, and it's really old, that area. Curiosity. Since I got the camera on, why not look it up? I'm going to look up. When was the city of Bascom annexed into San Jose? Well, there's nothing about that, but it does say something about the old Burbank Theater. Well, there's been an annexation. The old Burbank Cinema Theater, which goes back to the 50s. So it's on the border. Let me see here. It needs to be annexed into San Jose. It's part of Campbell, I guess. Oh no. Set. Wow, that's a kind of a funny story. Okay, here we have a Campbell area. I'll just read the brief here. Uh, so what was it? The freeway? Let's see. So the 280 freeway cuts through that area over by Prune Yard and Burbank and all that, and over on the other side, the 280 and the 680 and the 280 cuts through there. At no point at that point is it going north-south, even though it says 280 north and south. It's east-west. But anyway, 280 going down there, a little bit south. It's a little bit south right there. And apparently the Burbank Theater was founded in 1949. It became an eyesore by the 70s and 80s. And apparently they were showing adult movies there in the 80s. It was run down. And it's part of the Campbell side of the Bascom, and it's not annexed into San Jose yet. It's part of the I guess that part that's out there. It declined in popularity in the 70s. The Burbank. It's our little Burbank, our little version of L.A., the Burbank Theater. There's another. It's not quite. Irvington up near Fremont. It's not quite the Irvington district where the first movies started up there near Fremont. The first was the Charlie Chaplin movies, the Marx Brothers and all that. It wasn't that. That's where Hollywood started, up there near Fremont. Then they moved to L.A. A bunch of New Yorkers, and then they moved to L.A. The other New Yorkers, and founded that one down there in Los Angeles. Los Angeles was cheaper back then. But the Burbank is the same name as Burbank in California, another town near Los Angeles, part of Los Angeles area. And so this Burbank Theater is named after the hoity-toity LA kind of name. So it's not. It's in San Jose. And it was run down even in the 80s, and we made jokes about it and stuff. And we went in there at some point after we were old enough to go in there, and it was gross. Don't recommend it. But no, it's closed up now. So. They don't want it. The city kind of doesn't want it. It's like 1.6 million. Oh, such a deal. What kind of happened is when they built the freeway, they tore out the parking lot, the back of the thing. That's how we got back. That's how I got back. I went down to Coleman, which runs sort of near the parallel to the edge of the freeway. Coleman went back. Didn't come up on it came up on Naglean Park. Instead, I went down on Coleman to come back. It was just quicker that way. Santa Clara, soaring around. Street, not town. The old town area. There's So who's ever in charge of it now? Somebody bought it for 1.6 million in an auction, and that whole area, that whole strip mall area down there is a mess from the 40s. Yeah, and the time sign is on the other side, and that's famous, so they have to keep that. But the old buildings down there, and the Argonauts Landing Bay building is still there. The one built in the 80s. It goes up like this. That's still there. It's just hidden behind 3 other buildings. Still there. You could see it from the other side of the street. It just looked like that to the bus driver, Robert the bus driver. There was a bus driver named Robert in the 80s who disappeared into obscurity at the end of the 80s, and that wasn't until like years later, the famous bus driver that Jason Cranston and I would sit on the bus, and Cranston turn around and look the other way. Look out the window, talk about Robotech and Transformers. He's younger than me. It's about Mark's Carson's age. Yeah, he would go on about the other stuff. And that's about the same time period. Kid for the bus, and he would go on about that. And Robert the bus driver was friendly, and we talking about like space and sci-fi and stuff while he was driving. And years later, saw him on a bus again. He was a bus driver. got on the bus. There was now a gray-haired guy, his beard had turned gray, didn't have as much hair, and he immediately recognized me and said, "You and Jason." Yep. Whatever happened to that guy? Well, Jason moved up to like Pleasanton or something. He's up there. I'm still around here, and I'm getting on the bus. Yeah. But yeah, gonna go down the bus, and that was interesting. He's an old guy now. Well, back then it was 20 years ago that I saw him. But yeah, But yeah, it's Robert the bus driver. So I'm surprised you still remember that. Well, my father was named Robert, so there. Yeah. Oh, okay. And my brother is Robert Jr. But yes, oops. Yeah, that was funny. He remembered us. Yeah. I know. There was this cranky bus driver. We only knew him as number 96. The cranky old fart. And he was cranky old, but we didn't like that guy. And years later, saw him picking up trash as a bus driver. He's downtrodden picking up trash. Of course, that was senior year that I saw that. So that was a while back. That was a long while back. 35. 89. That was like 35 years ago. But yeah, picking up trash. But yeah, over by the bus stop where he used to, the bus stop on Sierra Road. They changed a lot of Sierra Road. It's almost unrecognizable. On the other end of the northern end of San Jose, the Piedmont district. That's another district, the Berryessa district. That was followed up by San Jose as well. That's the other side. That's the Piedmont district, Berryessa district. We got half of the Piedmont district. Another piece of it. Milpitas is Piedmont district, pretty much. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, there's a little history of things. It's kind of funny to look up that Burbank Hotel. It's a Burbank building, just to see what that is. The Time Deli sign. Let's look that up. There it is. The Time Deli sign. Yeah. That was the name of it. Hamilton and Bascom. And if you drove down Hamilton, you would have ended up seeing the Westgate and Tim's Mall. So, Tim's that. I didn't go and see him yesterday. But yeah, the time sign. That's what it's called. It's called the time sign. If you want to see the time sign, that is at 1228 at South Bascom Avenue. I'm going to go see it. Time sign. It has a big time. It's written time above it. It's beyond. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Goofy. It's Time Deli. What's about the deli? No, I'm not going to show the pink poodle. It was there, refurbished, but there's no reason to do the history of the pink poodle. There's no point, man. Not doing that. Anyway, so that was my review of the Cambrian district thingy. The plum orchard. Cambrian. I wonder what they were growing over in the Cambrian district in the 50s. There wouldn't have been any houses. It would have been all empty. And then it would have been a road and stuff. And whereas in the 50s, old town stuff. What would have been over there back then? Because even in the 80s, there was a lot of empty land in Milpitas. The early 80s. Then they built a bunch of computer companies. But now they tore down most of those computer companies. And now we have all these condos and houses built up against the BART line, which went in. Unfortunately, every one of those houses, which is probably $1 million an apartment, it's ridiculous, is right next to the BART station. Or they hear the BART line, so they hear this rumbling train the whole time, like, right? Yeah. Why on earth would they want to have houses there? I'd be hearing this constant drone of trains going by. Yeah. And the area around Elmwood, the jail, and Milpitas, and then the mall is completely built up with houses. And I was pointing out to Mark's Cards, back in the 90s, this is a major spider colony that was right there. And the spiders would often go infest the jail. And they thought they were brown recluses and stuff. They weren't. They're just like little black spiders. And wolf spiders. They're very harmless. They bite, but they're not venomous. Some of them might be, but no, I don't think most of them are. They're just spiders. Yeah, Halloween-y stuff there. That's the place with spiders. So I wonder if those new apartments that are over there that have been built in the past 20 years or so, I wonder if occasionally they'll have a spider outbreak because there's probably still some eggs. They're like wandering through the walls, like where are these spiders coming from? The apartment dwellers are like over by the Trader Joe's they're like, oh yeah, there used to be a spider colony over here. A big one. Like the whole land was like, they were raising spiders. Well, not raising, the ground was raising spiders. There were plenty of things for the spiders to eat there. It was probably a landfill. They were having a field day in the night. So yeah. There's probably homeless people in there. In that old center down there downtown. Anyway, so yeah, that is the story of the Cambrian Park.